With more presidents claiming it as a home than any other, in addition to the Wright brothers, Ohio has its share of natives who've taken their place in the history books. But in the world of cryptozoology, the Good River has no shortage of swing state strangeness to be talked about. First off is the Crosswick monster. In May of 1882, 3 boys local to the town of Crosswick were fishing on a small creek when they heard a rustling noise nearby, only to uncover a 12-foot-long snake with legs, in their words. The 3 youths quickly fled the scene, only for the reptile to give chase. According to them, one member of the trio, named Joe Lynch, was grabbed by the creature and dragged to a nearby sycamore tree. Joe's screams were heard by another nearby trio, this one comprised of grown men, who reportedly chased off the serpent, forcing it to hide in the sycamore tree. They called for a doctor who tended to Joe and gathered a mob of locals in a bid to hunt down the monster. They cut open the tree it had hidden itself in and chased after the beast as it fled, only for it to disappear into a rock pile, never to be seen again. The doctor they called for, named Dr. L.C. Lukens, the leader of the town's church, Reverend Jacob Horn, stated to various newspapers that the story was true and not fictitious or embellished in any way. Next up is the Lake Erie monster. The Lake Erie monster, or Bessie, as it is sometimes affectionately referred to, is said to be a 20 to 40 foot long entity resembling a plesiosaur. The earliest sighting of the creature came in 1793 from the captain of a ship called Felicity while he was shooting ducks. More sightings would come during the 19th century, with one even involving 2 brothers seeing the creature beached, prompting them to then leave the scene, only for it to disappear entirely by the time they returned to the spot. In 1892, local papers covered a reported story of the beast. A crew of sailors saw what they described as a sea serpent, seemingly fighting an unseen foe. Sightings of Bessie would continue over the years, with a $5,000 bounty being posted during the 20th century that ultimately went uncollected. At number 3 is the Charles Mill Lake Monster. Geez, Ohio sure does love its monsters. March 28th, 1959. 3 teenagers were hanging out near Ruggles Road when a creature-defying explanation rose out of the waters of the Charles Mill Reservoir. They described it as standing at a whopping 7 feet tall, with luminous green eyes, webbed feet, and strangest of all, no arms on either side of its body. The trio, understandably, fled the scene and contacted local authorities, who found no creature, but they did find mysterious webbed tracks. Another encounter is said to have occurred in 1963, and there have been reports of tracks since then. While a bipedal creature with no upper limbs has really no known animal equivalency, the Charles Mill Lake Monster is not the only cryptid known to be more than a little bottom-heavy. The legendary Fresno nightcrawlers also, famously, have no appendages above the waist. Up is the Loveland frogman. While the exact date has been lost to time, in May of 1955, a traveling salesman was driving down the road to Branch Hill at 3:30 in the morning when he saw 3 4-foot-tall humanoid figures with frog-like faces. He got ready to leave. He reported one raising a wand that spewed sparks, prompting him to leave in haste. Nearly 17 years later, in March of 1972, a police officer reported seeing a 3 to 4 foot tall, seemingly humanoid frog that stared at him then promptly fled, climbing over the road's guardrail in the process. 2 weeks later, another officer of the law would report seeing the frogman, allegedly shooting the creature, who also fled, once again escaping over the guardrail. We may never understand the mystery of the frogman, but now you know what I've been told. Finally, at number 1 is the Ohio grassman. Bigfoot has been sighted in every one of the continental United States, and the heart of it all is no exception. The grassman gets its name from how they'll build small hut-like structures out of tall grass. Like all types of Sasquatch, they are colossal, covered head to toe in shaggy fur, and leave a strong odor wherever they go. They feast on deer, were reported by the early Native Americans to accept food as tribute, and disturbingly have said to be responsible for the disappearances of pets in the area when they want to make their presence known. A 16-inch strand of hair, reportedly belonging to the grassman, was analyzed by Ohio State University, but it was unable to be identified. Do you agree with my list? Would you have added any other Buckeye beasts? Let me know in the comment section below.